A Wisconsin man was arrested this week after he brought a handgun to the Wisconsin state capitol and said that he wanted to see Democratic Governor Tony Evers. Now, he later returned with an assault rifle that night after he posted bail. So what happened exactly? Well, shortly before 2 p.m. on Wednesday, a shirtless man with a leashed dog and a handgun in a holster approached the security desk outside the governor's office at the Capitol and said he would not leave until he spoke to Governor Tony Evers. Tatiana Warwick, communications director at the Wisconsin Department of Administration, said. Now, since it is illegal to openly carry a firearm, specifically in the Wisconsin Capitol, the man was in fact arrested. The man, who has not been named yet, was then taken to a county jail and his firearm was seized as evidence. If you're wondering what happened to his leashed dog, the dog was turned over to the city animal control. Now, the man bailed himself out, but at around 9 p.m. he returned to the exterior of the Capitol with a loaded AK-47 style rifle and again asked to see the governor, Warwick said. Now, police officers found a collapsible police style baton during a search of his backpack, which the man did not have a valid concealed carry permit for. Okay, the baton permits, please, anyway, but I'll continue.
Okay, like the loaded AK-47 is legal in a lot of contexts where you're not threatening the governor, right? But the baton you need a permit for.
I mean, come on.
It's absurd.
Look, I know someone who has those batons, which are completely banned in the state of California. Okay, I mean,
a baton is
less deadly. It is literally a stick, a collapsible stick. I mean, you can do damage with it, but you can do a lot more damage with an AK-47 type rifle.
Yeah. By the way, you can also do more damage with a bat, and they're not illegal. This is absurd.
It's stupid. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. I can't stand how ridiculous some of these laws are. Anyway, based on some of the concerning statements made by the man that haven't been disclosed, officers took him into custody for a psychiatric evaluation. And of course, they seized his rifle and baton. So this incident obviously comes out a year after Evers' name had appeared on a hit list of a man suspected of killing a retired county judge. Now, I want to be clear, this story is still developing. We don't know what motivated the guy. Clearly, if the police wanted to have him undergo a psychiatric evaluation, he might be suffering from some sort of episode, some sort of mental health issue. So we don't know if this is actually politically motivated. But I mean, he shows up armed twice looking for the Democratic governor of the state.
Yeah, and so guys, we live in a dangerous country, and then we'll have to see what his motivations are. That's the most important part. But I'm worried about people who want to do political violence, and as we've shown you the polls, 41% of Republicans say it might be time for violence. Evers is a Democrat. On the other hand, a shocking number of Democrats thought that sometimes political violence might be necessary. And so I don't remember those exact numbers, but they were weirdly high. So everybody bring it down. No, violence is never the answer.
I can't emphasize enough how important it is to reject violence and denounce violence. If someone on your side is engaging in violence or is encouraging it, you have to shut that down immediately. You lose all credibility, you lose support. It's just such a dumb non-strategy, really. It's just about people who want an emotional release, and the violence in their minds is the emotional release.
Yeah, except that for the Trump crowd, there is some strategy behind it. If you do strategic violence, you can threaten and intimidate people into compliance. And that's what the Gestapo did in Germany. And the brown shirts did. The brown shirts started the vigilante violence in Germany, and it was unfortunately very effective. And so the right wing in this country very often threatens the left wing leaders all the time. And then Donald Trump goes out there and jokes around about Paul Pelosi got his head smashed in with a hammer, and the whole crowd laughs. Trump is 24/7 encouraging violence. So, he's definitely patient zero in this problem.
As a result of that, by the way, Newsweek, I don't know how, but they have obtained some classified information from the FBI in regard to how they are responding to some of the politically motivated violence. We're gonna get to that in a moment, but some new details about the man that I was just talking about have been shared and reported. His name is Joshua Plesnick. Plesnick was told he could not open carry in the Capitol. The Wisconsin State Capitol Police visitor alert said he stated he would not comply with that order. He was arrested for openly carrying a firearm in a public building. While being interviewed, Plesnick said that he would continue coming to the Capitol until he spoke to the governor about domestic abuse towards men.
Yeah, it's obviously unhinged.
Well, I mean, look, I do think that there are instances where men suffer from domestic abuse, but like I don't know like whether this guy is mentally stable.
I would be shocked if he didn't watch online videos from right-wingers about how men are abused in general. But I don't know. So let's find out what happened and then we'll tell you when we get the details.
So now with that said, let's talk a little bit about this Newsweek exclusive in regard to what the FBI is doing in response to politically motivated violence in the country. So they're attempting to basically prevent domestic terrorism without making direct reference to political parties or affiliations. According to William Arkin, who reported this in Newsweek, the FBI is in an almost impossible position, says a current FBI official. By focusing on former President Trump and his MAGA supporters, the official said, the Bureau runs the risk of provoking the very anti-government activists that the terrorism agencies hope to counter. So the FBI's data shows a dip, luckily, in the number, well, I don't know about luckily, but a dip in the number of investigations since the January 6th Capitol riots happened. I don't know if it's because there are less instances of politically motivated violence or because they've just decided to back off. But Director Chris Wray still says that the breach of the Capitol building was not an isolated incident and that the threat is not going away anytime soon. In a joint report to Congress this June, the Department of Homeland Security concluded the following: socio-political developments such as narratives of fraud in the recent general election, the emboldening impact of the violent breach of the US Capitol, conditions related to the COVID-19 pandemic, and conspiracy theories promoting violence will almost certainly spur some domestic terrorists to try to engage in violence. Obviously, the threats listed there are all generally associated with the right wing, and in particular with Trump's, MAGA supporters. Even though it doesn't outright say that, they're trying to do a balancing act here where their investigations don't seem politically motivated.
Yeah, so look, the answer is super clear and obvious to anyone who actually cares about this issue. Do not investigate people based on ideology alone. Why would I want you to investigate rando Trump supporters? Giant waste of my taxpayer money, okay? Let alone the fact that it's unconstitutional, etc.
Totally, yeah.
Now, and by the way, once they start investigating on ideology, almost always they investigate the left wing 10,000 times more, right? So I got no interest in the FBI investigating based on ideology. Having said that, equally clear, investigate people looking to do violence, especially if they're organized and constantly talking about doing violence. So the Republicans love to talk about that one guy who was a Bernie Sanders supporter shot at the softball game and stuff, right? That
Steve Scalise was at.
Yeah, and so of course we condemn that guy 2,000 times over. We condemn even the slightest violence on our side. But there are no militias built around like progressives and like, oh my God, let's go maybe end government tyranny with our weapons.
Well,
if there were, I'd be like, what are you guys, nuts, right? But so there are these groups and they are right wing and they are constantly talking about doing violence against the government. The government would be nuts not to look into that.
So look, I think that you're right in that in recent years, the politically motivated violence, like the majority of it that we've seen seems to be kind of lopsided on the side of, the right wing, but I wouldn't even say the entirety of the right wing. It's really like motivated by this like devotion to Donald Trump and these like insane theories about how the election was stolen from him and all of that. That's definitely true. However, I do think that the media in some ways has a bit of a liberal bias, and what I mean by that is there are certain stories that you guys never know about, never read about. I know about it because a lot of these stories happen like in California, for instance. I'll give you a specific example. This is politically motivated violence. When Mayor London Breed was addressing drug addiction issues in San Francisco, one of the activists showed up and tried to throw a brick at her. You know, so those instances happen too. I don't want to make it seem as though all of the politically motivated violence is just on one side. That's just not true.
I hear you. But there's some crazed activists sometimes that do stupid stuff like that, and they should go to jail. But there aren't an organized group of militias throwing bricks at people.
Yes,
right?
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
And so, but my overall point is, don't get scared by political attacks into not investigating people who say they're going to do violence. Oh, we wouldn't want to upset Trump MAGA guys, so let's since they're all MAGA guys, well, let's not look into them because then they'll yell at us. I don't give a goddamn about political correctness. Do your goddamn job. And if you find a militia of brick throwing left-wing activists, okay, investigate them too.
Totally. And then finally, I just want to say, Newsweek spoke to an FBI official. They assured the Newsweek reporter that they are not at all investigating people specifically and simply for their political ideology, but what they're looking into are individuals who are encouraging violent acts as part of their political ideology. So anyone who's looking to engage in acts of violence or is inciting violence, those are the individuals they're looking into. And according to them, it is not targeted to one political ideology or another. It's just anyone who has these anti-government, violent plans are the people that they're monitoring.
Yeah, and by the way, they got to go prove it in court if they're going to charge you and take away your freedom. And oftentimes, whether it's left-wing or right-wing folks, they can't prove it. And so even the Michigan governor, that plot to kidnap her, et cetera, some of the guys were acquitted because they're like, no, you don't have good information. They actually wanted to do that.
Right.
So if they're doing it wrong, we believe in the American justice system and make sure that everybody's got due process. But if you have information that somebody's going to commit violence, do not get intimidated by the big orange man who's going to cry about it, okay? Do your job.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.